Well, as you can imagine, the debris from the cowling, the outer part of the engine, scattered across a couple of Denver suburbs. Here to describe the scene is Colorado resident Kirby Klements. Kirby, good morning to you.
Morning.
Let's take you back. Saturday afternoon, you and your wife are in that house. You're wrapping up the newspaper, and boom, what happened?
Yeah, we were sitting on the couch and we heard a loud boom and it kind of rattled a little bit. And the wife and I just looked at each other and go, what was that? And then, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds later, now if you listen, if you've ever been involved in a high speed or an automobile crash,
yeah,
that's the sound we heard. And all of a sudden, this big silver object just rolled in front of our front window. And we had absolutely no idea what it was from sitting there. And then when I stood up and opened the door, I told my wife, I go, "You're never going to guess what this is." I said, "It's the front cowling of a jet engine from an airplane."
Yeah.
So
it's just crazy. Because
crazy.
As I look at those images of your house, I see the picture window right there. If you're in your living room, you're 10 or 15 feet away from that. And if anybody would have been in that truck, they'd be dead.
I'm 10 or 15 feet away from the truck. I'm right next to that window.
Unbelievable. Well, I was reading one of the accounts. One of your neighbors, I think the lady who lives right across the street from you, thought it was a UFO, some debris from a UFO.
Yeah, it was pretty strange. I have here, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is the
Soundproof?
honeycomb shrouding. It's the actually the structure of the shrouding that surrounds the engine. And it blew into pieces. Here's a smaller piece right here. It blew in. These pieces rained down from the sky for probably 2 or 3 minutes after.
Yeah.
And those pieces were found along with this piece in the back of my truck after we started looking at it yesterday. So,
and I know it was either the NTSB or United or somebody came and picked up all the big parts, and apparently they just left that little stuff there. And after that happened, I understand you've had a parade of cars going through your neighborhood as people are looking for the stuff that fell out of the sky.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon was actually pretty pleasant, and then it started really getting cold, and the local police had come and blocked off the street and blocked off the neighborhood and everything else because they started to realize how big the debris field was.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But the NTSB really didn't show up until around 6 o'clock Saturday night, and it was dark and snowing like crazy and cold.
Yeah.
So they came and just swooped up all the pieces that they could find. But these little pieces like this are everywhere.
Yeah, I bet they are. And I understand they just wafted down for about 5 minutes after the plane flew over. You know, given the fact, Kirby, that you were so close to that thing falling on you, have you tried to wrap your head around how lucky you and your wife are?
Yeah, I mean, you heard that. My son had just left to go to work, so he had just exited the front door maybe 5 minutes before that happened. And when I stepped outside and realized what it was, my first look was up in the sky to see where the plane was coming down. Because I figured a piece that big, the plane was going to be lost. So you looked up and all you saw was that stuff raining down from the sky. And then I realized that nothing else was happening here. And then there was a relief here. But the people on the plane, they had a good 30 or 40 minutes of terror the whole time. So I'm much more fortunate to be here on the ground and put up with the brief that we had than to be on that plane and wondering if you're going to make it down safe or not.
Absolutely. And the guy who was flying that plane, hero pilot, landed it after all of that worry, and I understand the entire plane burst into applause when he landed it safely out at the airport.
Oh, I'm sure it did, because you know, on the ground here, we had the Denver police, or the Broomfield police were here very quickly.
Yep.
But nobody had any word on the plane, and all the local news channels were still all involved in their normal programming.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any information at all on the plane or what had happened or anything until probably about 20 or 30 minutes later.
Sure.
And then it was conflicting whether, well, yeah, they're still up in the air burning off fuel, or yes, they've landed already. But apparently they just turned right around and landed pretty quickly.
Well, I think the people on the plane were the first to know, and you were the second because it landed in your front yard. Kirby Klements, we thank you very much for joining us from out there in the Colorado area. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good luck. All right. All right. Now you know.